I was very young when I got in touch with my first joint, and then I found it also direct my best medicator I could possibly find. My first ever feeling while smoking was every world leader should smoke this, and then maybe world peace will happen. Whether you're a professional, you're a starter, you're a woman, you're a man, or you don't know what you are, but you want to just start growing a plant, I want to be there and assist you and help you in the most easiest way. I slept under a cannabis plant. I saw the growth in the plant. I saw it really popping up and getting bigger. I was like, wow, this is magic. I'm Jeffrey Hinsbeeck. I'm born in September 74, so I'm 50 years old now today. Actually been in and around the cannabis industry all my life. I was very young when I got in touch with my first joint, and then I found it also direct my best medicator I could possibly find. I didn't have the best youth, so to say, so I was always fed medications by, or not really medicated, it's also not really fair, but they were trying to see, it's not a wonderful situation, so how can you be as calm as possible and feel as much as possible with yourself. I got introduced by cannabis in the hash form, and I was in love instantly. I knew this is something for me, this I want to embrace. And my first ever feeling also while smoking was every world leader should smoke this, and then maybe world peace will happen. We were young guys, and some were older. They were doing graffiti under a bridge, and some of the guys, they had some hashish. It was back in the city where I was growing up in Zoetermeer, and they wrote some hashish. I didn't know what it was, but I was curious, of course. You're young, and I tried some hashish there and then. So it was interesting experience, and as I say, my ideas with it were, hey man, this is so relaxing, this is so, if you're doing this, then you're not capable of going to war even, because you are too slow, you know, you're not capable of doing it. Of course, later on I also found out that it's not always the most ideal drug for everyone. It can also have its downers on people, where they really get into situations where it's not so wise no more. Also, like drinking and driving is also not good. Cannabis and driving still is also discussable, of course, because you do get a slower reaction. Nevertheless, there's a lot of alcohol deaths, and there's no proof of cannabis deaths. So for that reason, I'm really pro cannabis and really careful with alcohol. I also see my own grandfather die on overdose of alcohol. My uncles had a coffee shop when I was 12, 13 years young. I was allowed already back then. In the days it was normal for a kid to come also in a bar, so you were also allowed to come in a coffee shop. There was a table football, there were milkshakes. They were making milkshakes, but really milkshakes like milkshakes, nothing infused or something like what we do today, but really milkshakes with ice and milk. And I was allowed to come behind the bar because it was from my uncles. It was in Amsterdam. I was living in Zoetermeer. So again, that was something I was in love with. And then also it happened one day, my uncle had a Factrax. That was one of the ever first game computers, portable for in-home, which was unique in the Netherlands because he brought the thing from the United States back then. I was allowed to walk behind the bar because the place belonged to my uncles. I was allowed to make a milkshake, but when I was playing at his house at this computer machine, he was counting money. And I saw stacks of money, and I saw things going over a table, not knowing what they were doing. But afterwards, he gave me the Factrax. He said, I made some easy money, I give you an easy present. And I was, okay, so now I really want a coffee shop. I'm like 14, 15 years young, yeah? So a dream was born, right? So there it all basically started in the most early days, in the sense of, wow, this is a crazy thing, and funny also when you're a young boy, of course, in Amsterdam, attractive big city. And then it basically all happened already quite fast. I became, when I was 20, so we make a jump now of 5 years almost. And I started working in Sky High in the Herengracht in Den Haag. That was maybe beautiful times also. I was quite quick from a bud tender. I turned into kind of chef, because also shortly after that the owner got arrested. So there was nobody in the house who had any little experience of cannabis except me. So there was opportunities, and then I was a quite quick rising star, going from manager of that shop to managing 2 shops to managing also the cannabis cannabis out in the shops, and basically on a certain moment I was, I think, the youngest person there, but also kind of director of the whole place when it came. So that was already also again in a young stage that I was deeply involved in cannabis and around cannabis and passionate about cannabis. Already saw big differences in quality, start learning people calling stuff white widow, what then looked completely different than the other side, and then start learning also in books and start reading books, all the famous old school stuff from importers, crazy things. When it had to do with cannabis, I wanted to know everything about it. Back in the days it was not really pretending as what we have today, because today it more and more becomes like a top shelf product, what also, I want to say pretend, that's maybe not the right word, but it want to be like what we're sitting in, it's an advertisement world, it's the wizardries marketing, exactly that's the word I'm maybe looking for. It's also became more and more a marketing product, where it's, back in the days it was a bit more simple, where even some coffee shops not even had cannabis. You know, it was only hashish, and it was only pollen, and it was only Morocco, and it was you were unique if you had something from Lebanon, yellow or red, and then it came the Thai sticks around. So I've seen this whole market industry non-stop all my life, from small boy to big boy basically, because in a very young age, as I said, I was already managing 2 coffee shops in Den Haag, where the owner was unfortunately arrested, and they had nobody, so they were really relying on me. And I didn't even have a driver's license then, and I was driving around with half a kg of weed in a car of the boss, you know, because there was nobody willing to do it, and we had to have something to sell, you know. And it is how can you call me a bartender then, or what were I? Were I a young criminal? It's just the love and the feeling what I already had at a young age with the product. And so all my life I went to Spain. I was one of the first guys seeing opening clubs there. I went to Ibiza, I saw opening clubs there, I saw the whole movement, European white coming up, and then coming up Canada all of a sudden. And then we make a big jump now all of a sudden. I'm 40 years old. The time in between we can talk about for hours. It's my time in Spain and how I see the market develop there in a speed way, going from amnesia to billion kinds of. First of all, I think, of course, the love for the product. You have this feeling for this product, what you can also bring to the potential customer. The strength to say no in a way also, when you say, no, this is bullshit, it is not a nice product, is it wizardries and very expensive, or is it this product from the other boys? Is it really the best one? I dare to say no. Maybe I'm not discussing that the wizardries are any better, but it can be a better batch or a worse batch. And every flower and every patient, how we call them today, I like to call them users, you know, or clients or potential clients, or freaks like me myself, you know, or lover of the product. But these people who are using the product, they are, each and every one person is of course his own individual and also having his own taste and mind of a product. But not everybody dares to say no, also not to, especially not when it would be someone higher up in the hierarchy or something, right? So this is one of the reasons I think they saw that I really had knowledge about the product, and there I was maybe the only one on that moment, because there was a bookkeeper and there was cleaners and there was butt girls and there was bartenders, but we were also selling beer. On Friday night it was party time. The whole coffee shop turned into some kind of discotheque with lights flickering and girls dancing on the stage, because the girls, they attract guys, and the guys were drinking more beers, and at 12 or 1 o'clock at night they had to be kicked out by the bouncer because they didn't want to leave. So no, that was a whole different setup, where today you see all those coffee shops, especially in the Netherlands, change into some clean desk with a bartender behind. It's also a nice exchange, because I did already then, but that's maybe because I have this thing with alcohol, where I saw, hey, this can really bring a lot of damage and harm to people. And then I thought, yeah, with cannabis I don't see that. So there I already had this thing also, why the governments allow alcohol and how can they make such a fuss about cannabis? My uncles actually back in the days, maybe you can find some footage somewhere about it, I'm not sure, they done the opening of this coffee shop. It was called Marilyn Monroe in Amsterdam, and they dumped a bunch of flyers out of an airplane above Amsterdam saying free joints at the opening. So what happened is in Amsterdam the whole kade was full of people, and then they made the Dutch news with it because there were helicopters hovering above and there was police standing on one side and police standing on the other side, and they wanted to arrest both of my uncles and be basically in the middle of the coffee shop handing out free joints to every person in front of the door. Illegal, of course. So the MA on a certain moment came to do charges and get all the people away, so they got both arrested. Just these kind of things make you remind of an industry. It's like crazy, you know.
You chose this path is quite different than...
The way I done it, just 100%. I choose the difficult way. I run into this guy working for, I never want to mention no name, so I'm not going to call a name, but the company he works for is also a big nutrient group. They're famous. And he always chose the path of being legit, but he was desperately to get into the cannabis industry as well. So everybody chooses in the end his path in his life, what fits best to him. And also what is created, basically in your way, because certain things you don't have the choice. Who are your parents? What is the people you meet? Who are the people who are teaching you the way into this industry? So there's always different paths to get into the industry, and it's like with everything in life, it was for me going up and down and up and down and up and down. Yeah. I almost want to say everything, but then on the other hand, I've seen also so much downsides of the industry. But for those days, I just want to say a lot of positive things, you know, because this industry is really growing up and it is going really to the legit way, and is a part of a complete new path evolving. What we were doing back in the days in the garage was illegal, and they do exactly the same, working for GMP standards, and then create a medicine where I already saw that when I was 14 years young, and I saw basically the same as what they are now then finally getting to register worldwide. And here Germany, of course, is also a great example again of how this industry is evolving and how it's getting a bigger and bigger industry. I had to say this was also one of the fairs where I was less motivated myself to get to. I'm also sometimes a little bit tired, of course. You're not getting younger in your life, we're all getting older, and as it's been also my whole life, but sometimes I'm also eager to make changes. But then we're definitely going to talk about it also, is the drug nutrients came in my path in a beautiful way. So that happened on a moment in my life also where I was lucky enough to be there, I was lucky enough to have this opportunity, and I was lucky enough those days even to meet you and to create this as a huge company with a lot of potentials. Why I started it was very simple, because I had two choices with Royal Queen Seeds, where I was based on that moment in my life, working for Boy Ramsay, and I had a great job because I was doing nothing and I got paid very well, you know. I was driving a car on their cost, I was flying the whole world on their cost. I was meeting all the big players in the industry out of the name of Royal Queen Seeds, and none of them were really eager even to buy their seeds. Some did, I closed some deals for them as well. But it was more a life experience into, so to say, whatever I done in the past, today is legit because I do it under the name of Royal Queen Seeds, because their way, where they sent me, back then it was legit. Canada was legit, the United States it was legit, certain states then, and now we're already getting close to have it federal. The FBI is fucking saying it's allowed to ship it out, you know, federal legalized. Yeah, because that's the last step to get it really legit. But with the seeds, for example, it's already so far. You can ship in and out to the United States legit cannabis seeds, where that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was like, when I started working with Royal Queen Seeds, boys said always to me, whatever you do, as long as it's not with the United States, because I don't want no problems. And nowadays he's ramming the United States, you know, big time. They are, it's the full focus market for them. And that's what I say, this market has been evolving and boiling so fast lately. And For my time with Boy Ramsay was really ease and peace, you know, because I came from a time where you were having burner phones, had to throw away your phone every month, and then all of a sudden I was in a situation where I was chill. There was no more stress, no more looking around your shoulder, no more maybe the police is gonna raid my little grow over there, and maybe I'm gonna lose something over here or there. Maybe this guy or this person is gonna cheat me, you know. It's always a different game, of course, because we're talking money, police, so much things, what can happen. So with my time there, it was like, fuck, you know, what have I done wrong all my life? So, and then I knew, okay, this is a path I want to keep on going on. And then the pandemic happened, but before that, I already met the professor of drug nutrients, and I introduced him because I was still working for Royal Queen Street, and I also had to do some presentations now and then what I was doing with all the money I was burning. And then I said, well, I met this interesting guy, and he has made some really nice nutrients, and maybe it's interesting for the company to have a look at it. And then him and me, the professor and I, helped him making a presentation to present it for the directors. So I scored some points for he done something, and the professor maybe had an opportunity to find some investment into his dream. And then Boy, of course, after a lot of boo and buzz, said, no, I'm not interested at all. Said, well, you could have said 6 months ago, not waste a lot of time of me, paid me 6 months salary for fucking nothing again, and also wasted time of this poor professor because he really needs to continue with his life. And then the pandemic hit. And then I said, you know what, let me call this professor, maybe he's willing to do something on a smaller scale, but still in the industry. And that was a big mistake also. The problem with the industry is everybody is so big, has so much money in the bank, because they sold in my industry, for example, so expensive water, or in Boy's industry, such a cheap product for so much overrated money, you know, because the same seed with the neighbor lays for 80% of the money, and you're buying in a jerry can of 25 liters, 24 liters of shit, and maybe a couple of grams of nutrients. And that is people what make so much money, and they done so good their job in marketing, that try as a little boy, where I had the illusion, and it happened also. I'm lucky like no one else also. I realized it also like no one else, because it is not easy, and I've seen so many guys try to follow my path or do the same. Even a guy, I basically showed him everything. I showed him, hey, this is the path I want to go, this is what I want to do. We were still in the middle also of the pandemic. Everything was ongoing. And he said, yeah, I'm gonna invest in you, and I've got faith in you, blah, 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 blah. You know what he done? He copied us and he fucking walked off. He took another guy and he fucking started to do the same. But he forgot one important thing, that I traveled this world before and I done it all already. So, but all of a sudden a guy I show everything is all of a sudden my competitor, you know? So I see this and I'm like, you know, I thought this only happened in the other industry where I was doing illegal stuff, but no, it happens in the legal world as well. So we're fucking each other again. Nice. Okay, let's be aware, Jeff. This is same shit, different color. And then you have all these guys with all this money, and they are like Plagon. I think they have 10% of the outside ground, yeah? And they are presenting, and they have 50 workers worldwide, and they have pushers everywhere. And the guy who wanted to be in this industry without experience to get inside. But now he said, yeah, now my life's not so interesting no more, because now I'm a case manager and I'm just sitting in an office behind a desk. That, yeah, that's the difference again from the big boys, because there you work with 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 150 people, so you become a little number in the chain. So that is also not what I never really wanted to be. And that is the choice what Boy gave fair enough to me when the pandemic hit. He said, there's two opportunities. It's the door, or it's packing seeds and sending it out, because I will not fire you. And then I said, okay, I take the door. And then I said, I choose for the nutrients. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna see if I'm capable in this industry to get this rolling. And I didn't realize also enough how much money is going around with my competitors, and also not how much it all costs, but it comes with so much cost. Like these trade shows, they cost tremendous money. And if you want to become somebody, you become number F101 at 22A in a corner somewhere. everywhere. And then we're still quite a big booth, and that's why we are still a little bit visible. But I also share my booth with 4 others to cover the expenses because it's crazy. But those days we have to. If you want to become somebody, you want to be presentative here, you want to be here, you want to meet all your contacts, you want to see all the people, you want to shake the hands, you want to say that you're still here and that you're active in the hope to become also a piece of the cake. And don't forget, the cake isn't also so big. It's also people just sometimes think, oh yeah, Germany opens, yeah. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, shit. It's not so easy, you know? So you see also this happening again, same like what happened in Canada years ago. So we're also not learning from our own mistakes in that matter. Not looking around your shoulder. Not having this exaggerated feeling in your stomach from ooh, or when you see a police coming by, ooh, did he came for me? Oh no, lucky, phew. You know, that is one of the things, of course. On the other hand, also you see that the human being itself doesn't change at all. It's a red there, it's a red on the other side as well. It's a nice person here, it's a nice person over there as well. You see them from both sides again. And you see them in all colors again, of course, also. So there didn't change a whole lot. It's more difficult. It's much more difficult also. There's a lot more stress around also because it comes with so much registrations, offices, staff, computers, things, for example, I don't like at all. Admin, preparing, being ready for this, being ready for that. DHL, this transporter, that transporter. You know, people think, oh, it's an industry, yeah, these guys, they make money, man, whoa, man, like water. Now, I invite anybody to come inside. I just had a discussion with this guy from DSI. He said also, he had done me a little advice, and it's 2-3 million. And he says also, I respect your product and cool that you're still here, because that is the biggest challenge. And also due to my own partner for Germany, we see that there is movement, there is nutrients moving, and there is things going. We have some nice white label deals now also with Royal Queen Seeds. All of a sudden we're big friends again, you know. They use our product, they see how good our product is, they see now many trials we done, good results we booked also. We made growing really easy. Industry which is built up of selling a lot of bottles to a product which is so simple that it can be all done, start to finish, any substrate. I almost want to say any plant, but it's not really true. My version of the product is more focused on the fast growing plant, the short livers, like the cannabis plant indoor especially is, but also outdoor. It's not a long living, it's not like a tree living, basically outliving us even, but it's a short grower, we call it. So the short growing plant with my NPK mix is a brilliant product, one product in one bag. You don't need nothing else. I made it so simple that anybody, but also profi grower, will have a great result with only one product. When this professor told me before I introduced him even to Royal Queen Seeds, I really done my homework properly. I told him, you're crazy. It's not possible what you're telling me, because your crop will die or your roots will burn. Because I called him on a certain moment, he said, I'm in my greenhouse, the EC in my tank is this and the pH in my tank is this. Everything is alive. I said, go fuck yourself, it's impossible. It's by all what I know about plant growing, it's impossible. I said, come and look. Then I went straight to the greenhouse in Venlo. Thing is alive, man. He's fucking true. And then I said, he's fucking tricking me with this equipment. I run back to my car, take my suitcase, pH, EC, bang, in the tank. Oh, wow. Back to the plants. Oh, wow. Checking the roots. Oh, wow. You know, and then I was convinced that the guy created something unique, really unique. All what you know, with your base plant, because I'm not gonna say that I'm a plant physicist, not at all. But with my love for the cannabis plant, I learned it again the hard way, and I knew a lot. And then I knew, hey, this is brilliant, this is new, and this can be a game changer. And then again, you come to product development, things I've never done in my life. You know, I can check a product with my nose, with my eye, with my taste, with my fingers, with my knowledge, you know, and then I smoke it and I say, oh wow, you know, we can buy this, or we don't, we leave it because it looked brilliant, but the taste was not there. You know, it's a simple A, B, C, D thing, and then all of a sudden, product registration. Somebody came to me and said, identify your client. to anybody. What the fuck are you talking about? Identify your client. I want to sell it to anybody. Rich, not rich, big grower, small grower, I don't care. Just buy my product, you know. So all of a sudden I had to learn a lot also, and get faced with things, questions like I never ever realized it even exists. Identify your client. How do you identify your client? Can you identify your client? No, I can't. I find it very difficult because I really want to sell the product to anybody. Whether you're a professional, you're a starter, you're a woman, you're a man, or you don't know what you are, but you want to just start growing a plant. I want to be there and assist you and help you in the most easiest way. And when you look to our colleagues, friends, but also my competitors, they sell 40 bottles in a row. Yeah, that's one thing you and I have also been working on, and also my German partner came up with a venue machine, and then you saw our product in the venue machine, but you had to almost increase the photo by 100 to find me inside the vending machine, because all my partners were using screaming colors. What wizardries maybe overthought a little bit better than I done myself is where I choose for maybe from my background thinking also a white box. Nobody seen you walking in a hallway with a white box because it can be a shoebox, you know. And there was 10 kgs in our, or half, or 10 times 500 grams, 5 kilo packs, or 250 gram packs, 2.5 kilo in a pack. But all small white boxes, non-saying, where the industry already was more and more going legit, where you and I also choose for much more brighting in your face, because we want these people to do this grabbing and all these kind of things. It's been the learning curve of this industry. When I started growing my own plants, I found rest and peace for myself also. So because these are not communicating to me, and they're not, and I could read and learn very easy from a plant by looking at it. And I was so surprised the first time ever when I slept under a cannabis plant, I saw the growth in the plant. I saw it really popping up and getting bigger, and I was like, wow, this is magic, you know. And how can this be, huh? No, it wasn't really high. You can see it in any plant. If you feed your plants now water, just only water, you will see that she starts to rise. You never experienced? Look at the plants from Thomas. How did I make them rise? You know, you make them rise. To me, it's magic. It's like beautiful. It's a growth. It's like a baby getting born out of nothing to a beautiful piece of human being. So, and when I saw that the first time in plants, and then also realizing the same plant can make me money, it's a money tree, you know. So this is something I wanna keep doing, you know. It's a nice thing. I find it interesting also, especially in the case of Thomas, where we were just talking about, where you see those plants literally on the ground. It was nothing left out of these, yellow and poor and sick. No, I didn't save them. I just give them a little bit of love, and they give you a lot of green. My own wife have it with dogs. I have it less, for example, than with these plants, because she can have really the patience to nurse this animal 1,000,000 times and then still is shit in front of your door. And then I'm like, oh yeah, here, I wipe your face in the shit. Where with the plants, I have it, and she don't have it at all. She will let anything die when it comes to a plant. We have this nice terrace plants, and I came home the other day, and I wasn't here for a couple of days, nobody took care. And I see it instantly. I see it in any plant, I see it instantly. Sports.
Okay.
A lot. No, I just love sports. I love sports as much as I love cannabis. I do CrossFit. I do that 3 times a week with a personal trainer. I try to be fit. I learned from a Chinese girl that I should do some running. I tried, it hurts like but I do, because I need to lose a little bit of spec again. Then also I've signed now to become a youth trainer of 16 guys, high quality players, all of these. I'm doing that next to foreigner policemen who do martial arts training and do a lot of training with groups. And then I play football myself. My son plays a lot of football. I've got 2 daughters and a son. I've got a wife. We got a swimming pool recently built in our garden. We got a little sauna, so I've got a wonderful life, enjoying life to the fullest. We love traveling a lot. We try to spend as much time with our kids as we can. That's also the moments in my life that I really don't smoke, nothing at all. Since I started smoking pure, a new life also again opened for me. My aunt already, when I was young, in this age of 14, 15 years, said to me, "You're not addicted to cannabis, you're addicted to tobacco." And I was like 6, 7 joints a day then. Later on even 20 joints a day, but it was indeed the tobacco. Because when there's no weed around, I go to countries like Turkey those days. Back in the days I didn't want to think about Turkey. I didn't want to think about any country where you were not allowed. I've been once in my life to Indonesia when I was still smoking tobacco and cannabis, and I felt sick. For this 14, 15 days that I was there, I felt like the most poorest guy on the earth because I couldn't smoke my weed. And nowadays you can take me easily to any country where I would not be allowed to smoke for 30 days and I wouldn't miss it. But as soon as I'm around nice cannabis, I also would be the first to roll up a pure nice joint. What you're currently doing, your company, what we already during the interview spoke about it. It's this marketing, and it's definitely not only for the cannabis industry, but in our industry it's being made so difficult also that it's gonna either cost you so much extra to become a name. It's really challenging. I think that is really the most challenging part of the whole industry. It's the marketing side of it and being aware of what it takes. Robert and I, we spoke with this young girl this morning from France and completely enthusiastic. She had something unique, quite unique. Robert and I, we found she had based on the cannabis industry, basically lingerie. And I thought first, okay, she make lingerie out of hemp, but she really had lingerie with a weed logo on the chest, basically. And then I was already, okay, I don't know if people will buy it. But she asked me if I knew somebody in the industry who could help her with the marketing of the product. And yeah, I think she's quite fast with the understanding of the market. But then I asked her, what's your budget? Yeah, none. Maybe some revenue. Yeah, you know, try to fight this game. And if you try it, Nike, I want to say, try sports shoes or try t-shirts. A t-shirt, it would be more easy because again, you would be allowed instantly to do things on Instagram. If you have a little budget, you can do already some advertisement. I had this really nice conversation also with this person out of the industry, also very famous. You should maybe also bring him in front of your camera. We'll ask him if he's interested. It's Michael from CTech. He is this F1 seats development, what he done, which is very, very cool. But he is also, in a sense, in a lucky position that the Royal Queen seats is basically covering their ass, so they can keep on going, you know. They can keep on doing investments, they can keep on growing, and they can keep on working on. If you don't have a sugar daddy yourself or a big player behind you who's willing to do the investment, I would dare to say try it in another industry than the cannabis industry. Or you're passionate like me and you're just gonna fight it the hard way and then also find it the hard way and then...
Yeah, and it'll work.
It does. Yeah, no. I have no complaints. I'm a happy person, you know.
Okay, boss.
Thank you so much. I loved it. And you wanna take